of our audience and getting feedback and attempting to hone our craft and being self-critical and trying to do the right thing the smartest way as quickly and efficiently as possible to make the most number of people happy. But you'll find that money doesn't really work like that. You'll find that good things, which should have freedom to transfer between people and move around, are priced expensively, so that the people who own them can hang on to them, and that bad things are priced cheaply so that the warehouses can get rid of their poor stock. You'll also find that as your work quality deteriorates and gets worse and worse, it gets more and more popular. So you'll often find a person who's doing really great, just putting out wonderful, wonderful work, except it's not popular because it's too expensive and too inaccessible to the majority of the masses. But once they get unpopular, they'll hit the blip on the radar. They'll have a scandal. They'll have a fiasco. They'll put out something rotten and low quality, and then you'll find that everyone wants to hate on them and be mean to them. So there really is no point to fame and popularity. There's no reason to go out seeking either, because anything good enough for you to learn or grow or enjoy from is probably outside of your price range. And you'll find that if you do want to access anything higher level, you really have to specialize in it and separate the chuff from also separate the curds from the whey, or the chuff from the hay, or chaff from the hay, whatever that phrase is. But the point is that after you've become extremely specialized and an expert on a topic, you'll find that almost none of it is engaging anymore. And it might still be really expensive, and you might be really addicted to it and forced down that path in your life, but it's not engaging. So most people tend to stick around between 2 to 5 years to become an expert in something, depending on their potential and how hard they work. But it sometimes takes way longer than 5 years for the fruits of your labor to come into being, because of just natural processes. So it's hard to say how to enrich yourself in these conditions. And if you look over your life and the lives of your ancestors, if you're a historian or a family historian or a writer, or you have any access to records of any kind, be they video records or written records or audio recordings, you can really learn a lot more about your different alternatives in life and the right and wise thing to do, instead of just guessing. And I know you kind of hate like old boring shit, but a lot of the old world is way more interesting than ours, and a lot of the standard histories you read aren't really all that accurate. So if you have a family history written by someone who's very close to you mentally and physically and has a lot in common with you, that might be better for you than reading something written by an author, or reading a work of fiction, because it can enlighten you and inform your life. So by all means, keep records for yourself, with the intention of showing them to whoever it is that replaces you in the family when you die at your position. So I live here in the crypt. I have all the memories of the man right there who went to LBJ and graduated with a college degree. I have all his memories and abilities and thoughts and skills, but I never went to LBJ. That was aeons ago. And I still have his cloak here from his graduation, like I'm somehow claiming credit for it. And sometimes his consciousness overwhelms me, and I start speaking about his life in the first person, because at the time he was alive, it wasn't really known how to operate it well. But we should have looked to probably a Native American, English Indian tribes on how to view your ancestors and how to protect your ancestral heritage, and how to avoid pox and smallpox and disease from hospitals, and how to survive in a world full of European hate and outside influence. And It's not all exactly like the textbooks, but you'll find that the main sticking points are things that we deal with today. And if you know anything about society and technology, it's that it becomes worse over time, simpler, less technologically advanced, less in it, less diversity, less uniformity, more chaos, more entropy, more failure, higher difficulty. So a long time ago, it would have informed you a lot more than we have today. And I'm just like constantly driving this home and repeating it in my thoughts. But if I had a time machine, I wouldn't want to go to the future to look for novelties. I would want to go to the past before they became extinct. And if society has no entrepreneurship, no enterprising spirit, no creative energies and juices, no respect for art and culture and the fine parts of life, then of course it's going to get worse. And of course you're going to be an old nostalgic fool. And you can actually measure whether society is getting better or worse based on things like nostalgia and apprehension and common reports of suffering and torture. And if your society is no good, chances are it's not going to get better, because these things are biased and they reinforce. And just a word askance could set you down a path of misery. A single interruption in your day could creatively destroy you and your entire history, because of how our inferior minds are compared to people from a long time ago who had way more time to themselves to think, inner voices that their bodies relied on, and outer voices that their culture relied on. And there's a very fine distinction between the self and the other in those ancient societies that we don't seem to have today. In other words, you can get blamed for something a person outside your body did as a form of collective punishment, and people outside your body saying things can kind of play a sound in your ear or in your head or somewhere in your body that makes you feel like you're somehow responsible for their actions and activities. And it's all muddied and barbarically treated by people who just want to attack based on keywords and key phrases in cultures and languages and ways of thinking and consciousnesses they don't understand. So, in a large part, we have no hope and we're doomed. Yet we still continue because we're trapped in this world, and this existence is never ending. And no matter how bad it gets, we're expected to continue seeking stasis, conservative stasis, not as a progressively worse or better, I don't know, not as a radically good or bad, I don't know, but as someone who is expected to look at the calendar, know what that exact day and time in history represented and meant for everyone, and attempt to collect their surroundings and operate on their surroundings to make it look picture perfect for a person whose rules and ideas and laws are transparent and invisible to the world. Just imagine getting in a video game and having no quest giver, no tutorial, no button map, nothing to inform you what you're supposed to be doing in this world, and just kick you in the pants and get you to go. No instruction manual, nothing. So as a player, sure, yeah, you can figure that out. Yeah, jump on the monster's head or hit them with a punch. But as a creator, or someone like an architect or an interior designer or a creative type, it's like we need better specs, we need better written manuals, we need better mental user experiences to guide us into our actions and behaviors for the benefit of society. And most of that stuff is just as defunct as the things that we're expected to be collecting around us for preservation. So it's altogether not hopeful, and my health has been declining a lot lately, And I know why, and I've said why, and the people who are responsible have banned me for saying so, and probably filed lawsuits and had takedowns and called the police on me and tried to hit me even harder for claiming they hit me. And it's just puerile. And they had no business coming after me, and yet they still do. And never ask someone who's on a rant like this who they is, because they've probably already mentioned it. And you just weren't listening. So there's no hope of figuring it out. And pronouns another day, but for now, he, she, it, and they are y'all's problem. And I've done my part, well above and beyond my part, trying to make the world a better place. And the less I try, the less I seem to be able to respond to inbound and incoming problems. My actual ability to sense problems is deteriorating and decaying. So I'm gonna die an ignorant pig in shitty bliss instead of a frazzled, hardworking, eccentric hermit up in the hills in Great Hills Mountain hill country. And I don't know which is better, honestly. I mean, I feel super relieved that I don't have to try as hard, but I'm also really disappointed in how little I have to do. And the harder I tried made no effect on the outcome of the environment because it was held at a static conservative. So I could identify hundreds, maybe even thousands of problems just here in my room of things that I need done, but none of it would ever take place because I wasn't given potential to convert my will into actions with things like teams and products and employees and companions and compatible partners and all sorts of stuff. So am I a failure? Am I a failure? It's a good question, and I don't think I'm the one who can answer it because I don't know who keeps score and what they're giving us points for. For all I know, we could be getting points for killing cops, and I'm not doing that, so I'm a failure. For all I know, we could get points for eating a lot of really junk food meals or setting off bombs that blow up cars, and I'm not doing any of that. So I'm of the opinion that low scores win wars. And that everyone should be aiming for a low score in their game, no matter how kid-like and simple and childish it is, or how morally pure it claims to be. Because if you think about it, on Game Boy, pretty much every single game has you crushing skulls, but for some reason Tetris is looked on as pure geometry. But there's something suspicious about Tetris being on the playlist when all the games are so hellaciously violent. So beware that the control that you affect in the world is somehow a mask or a layer level for probably a much more complex situation that you're doing small tasks to accomplish. So you might see like a little stick figure on your screen, but that represents a living, breathing person who has a history and a life and a family and kids. And you find that the more realistic your graphics are, the more lagged and delayed it is. So simple creatures like a stick figure have a very easy time representing and controlling more complex forms and organisms. Caterus paribus. In some situations, the representation of a thing and the actual thing are strictly tied by existential laws and forces to occur simultaneously. So even if you draw a simplification of a complex thing, it'll still be developed at the same rate as the complex thing. So you might as well go complex and enjoy the beauty and the graphics and the full splendor and the wonder and all the ins and outs and fine detail, instead of trying to use a simplification to get a temporary advantage that'll give you somehow an initiative or tactics advantage. It all depends on how bad you got locked down uh, in 2002 or so, when all this came to a head here, at least here in the U.S., which is my audience. I've traveled all over the world, but every time I look for a place to call home, it's here in Austin, Texas, and no one seems to believe that it is Austin, Texas, because it's so different than it used to be. But this city has morphed from a town of 40,000 people to a town that kills 40,000 people in a heartbeat. And that to me is unsurvivable. And locals like me are faced with insurmountable conflicts as the bell curve is folded between generic global power goons and unique, smart, intelligent local townies pitted against each other, with the townies having no chance for success, and all blame and malignment going to nihil invisible forces in the government of probably not even our planet or sun. I'm thinking it must have come extra solar, and even that seems fabricated and fake, because in our world we don't have a sun. We have 3 artificial lights that turn on at various points in the day and just sit there and cook. And our atmosphere is made of butane and gas and cooking gas, and our streets are like frying pans, and we just seem to see ourselves as protein here to eat and be eaten in some kind of Natural Geographic urban fiasco. It's like it's the end of the world and we know, but it's not as cool as that song, you know. Anyway, despite all that, it's probably giving you more than you can think about, and you'll have to watch this video repeatedly to understand. And you're not me, so you may never understand, as far as I know, because communication itself seems to be impassable, in that it never reaches more than about 6 inches away from my face before it dies, and I can't verify for a fact that anything I've ever said to anyone is communicable between 2 parties, with like the exception of very, very few people who are very, very rare and trying very, very hard to maintain information pathways between individuals. So if I've reached you in some way, feel free to like, follow, subscribe, comment, super thanks, hype, share, whatever you think is appropriate to put my words where they need to be heard, and to contractually, I guess, respond in an appropriate manner. But if you're here to detract, I kindly ask you just to keep your words to yourself, and maintain a positive attitude at all times, because with a search bar summoner, anything you say and do is going to be your problem. So if you blame something on a bad person, that blame itself and the bad person themselves will both reappear to bother you more. So try to find what you love, make lists of your favorite lovable things that are the most popular and common in your world, and just run through them all the time, knowing that by your positivity, you're making the world a better place for you. And if you can't agree on something being worthwhile with your community, find a common interest with your community to focus on, so that you don't create more damage than self-actualized pleasure, if your thing is hedonism. But pleasure is rare, because none of us have feelings or emotions anymore. None of us have senses. Most of our sensory capabilities have been destroyed by countless eons of war and death to cars and torque and heat and invisible threats and electric devices and chemical weapons, and just total hack jobs with antimatter, which is anything gray, silver, steel, titanium, aluminum, tungsten. Just stay away from the periodic table of elements in general. There's probably more encouragement to self-harm, which is most of the stuff you see out there today. Anyway, that's about all I got the time for. Keep your chin up. Don't let yourself down. Don't let your friends down. Don't let your family down. But know that it's a zero-sum game to begin with. So if you don't make that promotion, oh well. See ya.